A short woman used her height to steal tomatoes and fruit from the stall beside her. She placed the stolen vegetables on her own empty stall and loudly called customers to buy from her. One customer came to the nearby stall to buy tomatoes. The shopkeeper told him the price, but the cunning woman quickly offered a cheaper rate and called the customer to her stall. The shopkeeper watched in frustration as she sold his own stolen tomatoes and happily showed him the money. Again, she exchanged empty basket for basket full of tomatoes and carried them to her stall. The shopkeeper was shocked to see an empty basket. He looked around in confusion and said that he had just placed a full basket there. Then he pointed at the tomatoes on the woman's stall and said they belonged to him. The woman angrily denied it and warned him not to accuse her again. The shopkeeper insisted that his tomatoes had disappeared only moments ago, but she coldly replied that it was not her problem and told him to search for them himself. Another customer came to buy tomatoes from the shopkeeper, but the greedy woman again tempted the customer with cheaper prices and stole another sale. The poor shopkeeper became more and more worried. At the end of the day, after selling all the stolen goods, the woman proudly mocked the shopkeeper. She said she was going home to rest while he could stay there feeling jealous. The shopkeeper realized someone was definitely stealing from him and decided to make a plan to catch the thief. The next day, the clever woman returned with another empty basket, ready to steal again. But this time, the shopkeeper had secretly placed a rat trap among the tomatoes and was hiding nearby, watching carefully. As soon as the woman grabbed some tomatoes, when she reached in again, then caught by the trap, she screamed loudly, then quickly controlled herself and walked away. The shopkeeper quietly laughed. Later, the woman sat at her stall with a bandage wrapped around her injured hand. The shopkeeper asked what had happened to her hand, but she rudely told him to mind his own business. He noticed she had not brought any vegetables or fruit to sell that day. She angrily replied that her hand was injured and she could not work, then told him to stop bothering her. Deep inside, she started worrying that the shopkeeper had discovered she was the thief. The shopkeeper thought that dishonest people deserved such punishment so they would never steal again. Later, the woman happily walked around singing, but suddenly she remembered something and rushed back to her stall in panic. When she arrived, she saw the shopkeeper standing there with the mall manager. The manager told her that security cameras had caught her stealing tomatoes from the neighboring stall. According to mall policy, she was no longer allowed to run a stall there. The woman desperately begged for forgiveness, but the manager refused. She then turned to the shopkeeper and asked him for help. The shopkeeper calmly replied that he could not help her either. Finally, after receiving the punishment for her theft and dishonesty, the woman walked away crying.